Welcome to Restoring Your Voice with your host, Reverend David C. McGuire, where we learn what it means to be salt and light for Jesus.
All right, we have had 2 assassination attempts on a former president, relatively back to back. We're going to talk about that today. I'm your host, Reverend David C. McGuire, Prophet for the Lord. So glad that I could be with you today on this Monday, the 16th of September, 2024, as of this recording. All right, so that's right. We got some stuff to talk about, friends. But before we get to talking about that, where are you watching from? You're either watching from YouTube, obviously, or over there on X. If you're watching on X, then head on over, okay, and click that subscribe button to the YouTube channel, Restoring Your Voice. Click that subscribe button. And also, if you're a first-time watcher, you may have come across this and decided to watch this crazy bearded dude talk, then hit that subscribe button as well. And, of course, you can see down there on your screen that you can find me on Facebook, on X, under the handle P. David C. McGuire, on, of course, YouTube at Restoring Your Voice. So there's that. And I would be more than happy to take any questions you have regarding former President Trump. Or objections. You can object to what I say. That's fine. Okay, I'm a big boy. I am thick-skinned. Okay, I don't get easily offended or hurt. But we have to face this now. Are there people addressing what I'm addressing today? I'm sure there are. However, I have not seen this a lot, which is sad. So we have former President Trump. Now, we'll lay aside for now what he says, how he can come across, and all of that. So let me just put forth that Trump is not responsible for the assassination attempts. Okay, that is ridiculous. That is demonic logic. All right, that is like blaming a woman when she gets raped. I'm sorry, what did you do? It was all your fault. Okay, let me just say that. The same people who are coming up with these insane reasons why Trump is responsible for the assassination attempts on his life, you are the same people, okay, that has the same logic when people blame other people for what they did, or for what happened to them. You are the same people who will tell a woman who's been raped, I'm sorry, no, it was your fault. You shouldn't have been dressing like that. You shouldn't have been there. All of that, okay? It is completely insane. I think we need to really just take a good, close, honest look at why there's such epic levels, if we could put it this way, against the hatred, epic levels of hatred against former President Trump. It makes no sense. Okay, in the natural, that is. We'll get to the supernatural in a bit, but if you are listening to this or watching this, if you don't have a supernatural worldview, okay, a lot of things that happen make no sense at all in the natural, right? Which we could go on and on about lots and lots of things about this. Black Lives Matter. That makes no sense. They harm black business owners and others in the American black community. Makes no sense. But my point being, we need to address it. All right, let me just lay the groundwork though. First off, okay, because you got to do that when they're talking about a topic. So let's lay the groundwork first. Let's use some examples. So we'll go back in time about 9 years ago, and that was when Trump announced that he was running to be the GOP candidate for president. So the primaries were coming up. We had a couple of people that were pretty good on the in America. That Ted Cruz was one. I voted for Ted Cruz in that primary election, by the way. Um, we had what is it, Dr. Ben Carson. We had some good prominent names and prominent people who made in and of themselves. I think they made a pretty good. They were pretty good GOP candidates for president. I wouldn't diss a lot of them that were on the ticket back then. But anyways, Trump comes along and announces out of nowhere, like literally nobody expected this guy, all right, to run for president. I'm sure nobody expected him to actually get elected to president, but we're not there yet. Anyway, he announced his bid to be the GOP candidate. And as soon as this happens, okay, he gets, and his family too, by the way, the most insane accusations, the most insane attacks against him and his family. And he hasn't even been voted as the GOP candidate yet. He's just a candidate in the primary elections. And already the gloves come off immediately, right out the gate. We have, I think it was what, Maxine Waters. The guy hadn't even been voted in yet, and she's crying, impeach him, impeach him, impeach him. What kind of warped thinking is that? Okay, so this happens, and then throughout his presidency, he's continually attacked. Okay, his poor family are under verbal assault. All right, they're going after his youngest, Barron Trump, back then. Okay, there's nothing. Okay, nothing too low for somebody to go hating Trump. Now that right there, beep, 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 should give you alarm. Should set off your alarm bells. Okay, this makes no sense. The gloves are off. Now I've said it before recently in recent programs where I said that Satan, the enemy, there is no low that he will not go in trying to take us out. Okay, this is important to get the front of our minds, to grasp what is going on. So anyway, Trump, right? Two impeachment trials, two of them. Okay, based on nothing substantial, complete fabrications of right. Why? Because the Russian collusion and the Russian hoax and all of this nonsense. Right, there is zero fruit. But they just wanted this guy out. They hated this guy so much that they would pour every ounce that they have to attacking him. And he stayed the course. Let me just say that. Okay. So we have that happening. Now, okay, Joe Biden gets elected. Okay. Election stolen or not is not relevant to this topic today. The point being is that okay, Joe Biden, okay, gets elected. Okay, then he gets inaugurated in January. All right. And so the course goes on. First year of office, second year, third year. And why am I bringing this up? Because now lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit is brought against Trump. The accusations don't stop. The mainstream media, especially the MSNBC and the CNN and all that, cannot stop attacking him. He's still in their sights. He's not president anymore. Okay, so he's not involved in making any policies whatsoever. Okay, he has no input. Right? Why? Because we have now a Democrat in place, and Democrat presidential cabinet and all that. So why would they listen to him anyways? Okay, just putting that out there. So now one lawsuit after another lawsuit. We have DAs, district attorneys from different states trying to try him. Okay, not no pun intended, but on trumped up charges. Okay, that bear no weight. That's why you'll see Trump is now getting acquitted of a lot of these things. Okay, there's a reason for it because they're not substantial yet. They happen nonstop, and and slews of Americans believe it. Now, this all actually ties together, believe it or not. Now, if you want like more in depth into more supernatural things and signs and all of that, then check out Rabbi Jonathan Kahn, Cahn, for what he has had to say on this matter recently. I've been telling you about his new book that I have right here that I did finish. Okay, this will explain a lot right here. So the dragon's prophecy will explain a lot to you. No, I'm not getting endorsed. Okay, I have zero communication with Jonathan Kahn, not so much as an email. But the book is important to find out what is going on right now. Okay, I'm not gonna try to plagiarize him, but I was reading his book, and part of his, a lot of the book is geared around Satan, right? The dragon. That's what he's described as in the book of Revelation. Okay, Revelation chapter 12. He is the dragon. All right, so lay the groundwork. Like I said, I'm not going to try to plagiarize him, but I'm going to give him credit as well. And in his book, okay, he talks about, lays the groundwork, kind of like what I'm trying to do. I'm not just rambling on. There's no point. Satan is the inverter. Okay, he warps everything. Whatever God has as good, okay, he will make it seem evil. Whatever God calls evil, Satan will try to make it seem good. Okay, so a lot of what we see playing out today in our world is a direct result, okay, of the supernatural, satanic, warped view and thinking, especially toward the Jewish people. And I believe that it is Israel and the Jewish people who have played a key role in the hatred, okay, the visceral accusations that have been leveled against Trump. I think we could actually see parallels there. So the Jewish people and Israel, okay, have been the target of Satan, okay, since God called them to be his people. We see this play out, fast forwarding through time, but we see this playing out in Egypt. We see Pharaoh, all right, killing the firstborn males of the Jewish people that were enslaved under his reign. We under the Pharaoh's reign at that time. We see this happening right there, right off the bat. This satanic hatred. Okay, I need, in Pharaoh's mindset at the time, that Pharaoh, right? It makes no sense to kill firstborn babies, right? Well, we see this happening though. All right, we can see this happening in many different areas, but we see this happening again in the book of Esther, to name the place. The entire book, the entire book of Esther, in fact, lays out the satanic hatred against Jews. We see more. Not, I was going to say the wrong name. Haman trying to get the king to kill all the Jews. So at that time, the Jewish people were in captivity, and by this time, Persia had taken over as the power in that part of the world, and so the Persians had enslaved the Jewish people at that time. And then what ends up happening is Haman, right? He comes up with accusations, unfounded accusations, by the way, against the Jewish people. Now, what happens in the book of Esther is, in case you haven't read it, okay, so Haman does this, right? The gallows are erected now. We have Esther stepping up to, on behalf of her fellow Jewish people, all right, and the king, which is a very brave thing to do. And so now the king, of course, ends up realizing that they were all trumped up charges against the Jewish people. And instead, Haman and his family go to the gallows. But what led to that in the first place, just like in the book of Daniel, right? Daniel is simply wanting to observe praying to God. That's what he wants to do. He practices it 3 times a day. He faces Jerusalem as he prays. Except the king had found favor with you know with Daniel, or the other way. I'm sorry. Daniel had found favor with the king, and the king's advisors hated this, and now they tried to get a law passed. All right, that would forbid the Jews from praying, and if they did, they would be thrown to the lions, which is what happened. Okay. Now I want you to think about that. Think about the ways that alone that they're trying to attack Trump right now and take him out. Right. Trying new things unheard of before in America. Now, okay, I'm not going to say when it comes to American politics, okay, I'm no expert at this, but I do know about throughout history, throughout American history, uh, presidents, those running for president, those running for political office, would get attacked in the silliest ways, right? Newspapers publishing stuff about them, you name it. Okay, got it. I mean that's bad, but it's politics is normal. However, we see this going far above and beyond with former President Trump. Okay, we have all sorts of accusations leveled against him. Mind you, these accusations that are leveled against him are also, however, the very same thing those leveling accusations against him are guilty of. Not saying all who believe the accusations, but those who start these allegations against him, they are guilty. Are the Democrats guilty of hush money? Yes. Okay. How is it that we have a sitting president, Joe Biden, with a son, Hunter Biden, who is guilty of having classified material on his laptop, right? Paying money here, paying hush money there, right? Bringing drugs literally into the White House, yet mum's the word, right? Our sitting administration is ruining America in every way you can imagine. They're ruining it through the education system. They're ruining the economy. You name it. Nope. We're not going to talk about that though. Right? We're not going to talk about the fact that we have a presidential candidate on one side who, when asked a question, just completely ignores it and talks about something else. Well, I was born in the Midwest. I was born to a middle class family. Okay, it makes no sense. Yet this man, Donald J. Trump, okay, gets attacked with the most insane things in the most insane ways, nonstop, day after day, courtroom after courtroom, newspaper after newspaper, so on and so forth. It's insane and it makes no sense. I don't know of any point in American history where such what would you call it? Where somebody is attacked at this level and they don't even have a say in what happens in the nation. How about that? So we have other people behind the scenes trying to manipulate things, but we won't talk about them. We'll just try to ignore the George Soroses, all right, that are behind the scenes, and others, leftist liberals, you know, paying for things to go the way they want. And I'm just laying the groundwork here because what has Trump done to even deserve this? Let me ask you that. If you're out there and you say, I don't believe Trump is evil and he's done bad things. Okay. What bad things? What has he done that has been so terrible for America? Okay. Now, we're not talking about morality here. That's a different topic. We're not talking about, you know, the way he says things, or, how often he says things. I mean, how often he tweeted on Twitter at the time, now X. We're not talking about that. Okay. Let's talk about policies. Let's talk about how Putin, for instance, okay, would never have dared to invade Ukraine under former President Trump. How that didn't happen. How that happened under the administration of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Okay, we say, "Oh, you're getting political." Fine, you accuse me if you want, but whatever you want, I don't mind. I'm just trying to put out the facts. What has Trump done so bad? Now, did he have a perfect administration? Absolutely not. Yes, there are things that he said that he was going to make happen. Of course, didn't happen because it's impossible, like making Mexico pay for the wall. But he did do his best to start really protecting that southern border of ours. Oh my gosh, that must be so evil. Yes, yes, yes. Our southern border protected from criminals coming into our country and drug dealers and gangs. Oh my gosh. How horrible is that? Oh, the economy was thriving. The military was getting rebuilt from when the Obama administration just tore it up. Believe me, I was in the army under the Obama administration, and I retired in January 2016. So when Trump came into office, so I saw what Obama, I experienced firsthand what Obama did to the U.S. military. Kind of like what's happening now under Joe Biden. So, oh my gosh, but all of that to say, that's not the main thing. The main thing, I was just trying to get these things to highlight to get you thinking. Why? What has he done that's been so bad to deserve any of this? All right. The number one thing. There may be some other things, but the number one thing. Are you ready? The number one thing I believe that why President Trump, former President Trump, is attacked so often with such vitriol, and so often the Jews and Israel. Okay, his love and support for the Jews and for Israel are what has drawn the ire of the enemy of mankind. Yes, I fully believe that. The enemy of mankind. So who is that? Satan. Satan is the enemy of mankind. These attacks against President Trump, especially what I've been seeing, okay, have no other excuse. I mean, we have people, I'm not kidding you. Yesterday, I was seeing these things. I'm not going to show you these I'm not going to take screenshots. I'm not going to give these people, okay, airtime. I'm not going to go do stuff like that. And plus, a lot of the stuff I couldn't show because of profanity, right? But the basic sentiment are a couple different things. Is darn it, how many assassination attempts is he going to survive? I kid you not, that was the sentiment. People want him dead. Oh, I can't believe it didn't happen again, or it's his fault, right? People are out there trying to state that because of his policies on gun laws and gun restrictions, this happened. Excuse me here, but the Biden administration, okay, has had 4 years to fix these things. How is Trump at fault? We'll just say based, on gun laws. He hasn't been president for 4 years. It has been the Biden administration, yet somehow he is blamed for getting attacked. You know what other weird warped way of thinking that is? It's the Jewish people. I've seen it. Oh my goodness, especially in the months following October 7th. All right. Especially then, just the vitriol. Oh well. Oh yeah. These Jews and Israel. Okay, they get attacked throughout history, but they didn't do anything to deserve it. Well, they must have done, but nobody can bring up anything that they actually did. You see what I'm saying? Or as I've tried my best to point out to you in a couple of examples, and there are many, 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 many examples to be used of these baseless, trumped up accusations against the Jewish people, right? Which who did that? Nazi Germany, right? Not Nazi Germany did this. And yet somehow Trump is accused of being a Nazi. Why? What? I didn't realize that Nazis loved the Jewish people. I didn't realize that they loved Israel, but somehow either, you know, these accusations are all lies. But, Karl Marx, I believe it was. Now, I could be wrong. So if I'm wrong on the quote, correct me, please. But I believe it was Karl Marx who said something to the effect of, it could be Lenin as well. Maybe they all said it. But to accuse your enemy of the very same thing you're guilty of to cause confusion. Okay, that is a common communist tactic, the accusing of other people of what you're guilty of. And we see this. I laid out a few examples. I said I'm no political pundit. I'm no political talking head. But this is not what the show is about today, anyways. The point being is that, so for instance, in the lead up to the Holocaust, lies were already spread about the Jewish people, right? They were greedy. They had all the money. They were controlling things. Never mind, they were only doing that because that was only the job. That was the job that they could get, and they thrived and they did very well in what they did. We have going back in history, going to the blood libel, right? This is what the Crusaders used as an excuse as they were marching to Israel. All right. This is the excuse they were using to kill Jews in Europe. The blood libel, right? The same nonsense that Kenneth Owens is spreading, by the way. That the Jews were taking children and using their blood to make the Passover matzah, right? Utterly ridiculous, right? Same things that they say, well, Trump is guilty about. I just make things up. Oh, well, he called Nazis very fine people. Never mind, he never said that ever, right? It's still happening right now, by the way. These kind of accusations, the very same things that they did against the Jewish people and do against Israel and continue today. Right? How many? I mean, right now it's playing out. Where South Africa, by the way, this is not all South African people that hold to this, by the way, but the South African government has brought accusations of genocide against Israel. Now, if that were true, my goodness, then we've all gotten the definition of genocide wrong throughout the entirety of history. Because what was the number I saw? It was somewhere above. Since 1948, the Palestinians have above 300%, increased more than 300%, friends. But these are baseless accusations. Oh, the Jews are controlling the world. They're controlling our media. My goodness, they make up mainly what, 1% of the world's population, and they're supposed to be controlling all these things. Okay, now we have accusations with Trump being some sort of threat to democracy, even though he had 4 years to try and do something like that, and he never did. Okay, or Project 2025. Let's throw that one out there. So we have this group of people who were involved in Trump's previous administration, but then they came out with Project 2025, and Trump has stated on the record multiple times he has nothing to do with that. No different than, what else? Oh, the Jews, out there saying, no, what are you talking about? Blood libel. We don't take your children. We don't steal your children. Oh, but you do. You see, that's a satanic hatred leveled against President Trump for no reason at all. Just make stuff up. Just make stuff up that he's guilty of, that he is not. Okay? And then let's try to bring lawsuits against him. Now, I feel, but then we see people shooting at him. Okay? People shooting at him with rifles, with scopes. Okay? And the most recent attempt on President Trump's life yesterday, the the shooter, the assassin, if you will, uh, tried to shoot him. And believe me, as somebody who's been in the military, okay, I had to go to the range. I've shot plenty of times. The distance from the shooter to President Trump, okay, would not have been that bad, that hard, that for him to shoot him. Just a little bit of training, it wouldn't have been that hard. Now, thank God it didn't happen, but the attempt was made. Why? Because of the vitriol spewing forth from the liberals, from the Democrats. Okay? It is what it is. Words have weight to them. Okay? Words matter. And when people are out there spewing these lies against him, painting him as a threat to democracy, so on and so forth, then those words are going to have consequences. And the consequence is so far 2 assassination attempts on President Trump's life. No different than when Nazi Germany and before Nazi Germany, but for thousands of years, right? These accusations were labeled against the Jewish people. If it wasn't the blood libel, right? It was calling all of them Christ killers. Oh, you Christ killers! You killed Christ. Never mind, Rome did that. Well, we'll just not talk about that, right? If you're out there and you're anti-Semitic, same type of vitriol, lies leveled against former President Trump. Why? Okay, so I know I've been speaking for about 30 minutes now, and I said the Jews and the Israel, but you say, well, why? You might even ask, well, but he didn't say anything when he initially announced his candidacy, did he? Yeah. So mind you, let me just point out quickly. Okay, the enemy is far more cunning than we can imagine. Okay, the enemy has observed mankind for thousands upon thousands for thousands of years now. So what we may think, how did the enemy know about that? The enemy is sneaky, sly, and patient. That's why we are commanded in Scripture to be alert and sober-minded. We're commanded that. So, point being, though, is that by observing, perhaps even listening to conversations that neither you or I know about, the enemy knew what Trump was going to do with the Jews in Israel. And sure enough, President Trump promised that he was going to move the American embassy to Jerusalem, and rightly so, to officially, and be the first nation to do so, by the way, to recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital. And he did that. Okay, under who knows what he may have experienced behind the scenes that we'll never know about. He did it. All right. No president did it. All right. It was put out there to do, and every president just passed the buck. Trump said, I'm going to do it. And he did. All right. And rightly so. And that, my friends, is what brings such a demonic level of hatred and vitriol toward President Trump. Okay. It is that same murderous hatred, okay, that existed in Haman's heart and led him to petition for the genocide of the Jewish people. Okay. And it is that same hatred that was in the heart of people like Hitler, all right, to go forth and want to ethnically cleanse the world of Jewish people in his eyes. All right. It is that same level of hatred that at the announcement that Israel was now a nation once again, led all of the surrounding Arab nations Muslim nations, to attack Israel en masse in 1948. All right. Right. It makes no sense. All they said, hey, we're a nation, right? They were agreeing, okay, to the land. We'll take this small part of the land, the others in our land, right? Because there were no Palestinians just yet, by the way. You have this, you have that, you have that. Okay. They get attacked. They win. They take some of their land. They get attacked again a couple more times. All right. In the 6-Day War and the Yom Kippur War. And they take back more land because they keep getting viciously attacked for no reason, simply because they exist. Okay. The Jewish people are the Jewish people. Let me say this. All right. So I'm going to give credit to Jonathan Cahn for this. Jonathan Cahn stated that the Jewish people are the Jewish people because God chose them. If God would have chosen a different people, then they would have been Jewish people. Let me just lay it out for you real quickly. That means, yes, if it were up to God and he were to choose a people from among India instead, then they would be the Jews. If he would have done that with China, they would have been the Jews. Name a people group anywhere in the world. Okay, it could have been the Native Americans. Why? Because God is the one who does the choosing. Whom God chooses, he will bless. And he keeps his promise to 1,000 generations. In other words, always. And so simply by God's choosing, all right, is what brings on anti-Semitism, simply because God chose them. Okay, we're not even talking about, all right, the Messiah, the Savior of the world being born through them yet. That's another level of satanic hatred. Now Satan is trying all that he can to wipe out the people and the land, because when Christ returns, he's returning for the Jewish people, and all Israel will be saved then. And we have a sitting president, or sorry, a former president. That's not what I meant to say. We have a former president, all right, who simply, whether you think it's supernatural, God guided him in this, whatever else, all right, but we have this gentleman, President Donald J. Trump, who recognized Israel and its right to exist, and Jerusalem as its capital, as this is in God's view, by the way. So I'm not calling President Trump necessarily a Christian. All right. I wouldn't say that. Okay. I'm not the man's defender or apologist. I'm trying to give you to open your eyes to see, okay, this hatred is satanic. It is a supernatural hatred. It is a hatred that has spanned thousands upon thousands of years. Okay. It is a hatred that has never stopped. Okay. This anti-Semitic satanic hatred may have throughout history ebbs and flows, but however, okay, it has never died out. And in recent times, it has exploded in unprecedented numbers, far, far worse than the world was during or we'll say pre World War II. All right, far, far, far worse. Okay. Yes, we could look at, well, maybe the spread of information, the internet, all of that. But what is the source is the question. What keeps fueling this hatred? Only something outside of what we see with our own eyes could fuel such a level of hatred. Okay, there has to be, just like there is a force, obviously God, who created the universe, right? Nothing came to an existence without his will. We see this explained in John chapter 1, by the way. So we have that. But then we have the opposite, the anti-Christ, the anti-God portion in this, right? Whom seeks to destroy everything that God has created. Who seeks to hate. Now, I was thinking about this, and I don't think we highlight this enough. So we see the words of Jesus playing out in very real time. When what I mean by that, he says, in this famous Sermon on the Mount. I believe this part is in Matthew 5. And then Jesus starts talking about, you have heard it said, right? Right. And he goes on, you have heard it said, you shall not murder. But I say to you, he says, and he goes on to explain. Now I'm paraphrasing here, but and then the first epistle of John goes on to explain this as well. Okay, if we hate somebody in our heart, it is the same in God's eyes as murder. That is what Jesus taught. Now, why would he say that? Well, we see elsewhere in the Bible and elsewhere in the teachings of Jesus, he explains about the heart. He explains about our heart and how out of the if we have a wicked heart, so those who are not saved. In other words, all these perverse, nasty, evil things come out of the mouth. He said, out of the abundance of the heart. So all of this vitriol, this profanity, by the way, and by those who claim to be Christians at times too, by the way, profanity and vitriol, hatred against Trump again and again. I'm not talking about facts. Okay, hatred and criticizing somebody fairly, they're not hate. I got that. Okay, like people will say, well, you mean I can't criticize Israel? No, I don't. There's lots of things we can criticize Israel for. Their stance on abortion. Okay, Tel Aviv being named the number one city for homosexuality in the entire world. Okay, am I going to just look past that? No. But to condemn Israel and Jewish people as a whole, that's where the hatred enters into. So hey, you can say, hey, I don't like the way Trump spoke. Okay, or the recent debate. I wish he would have really just been more firm on abortion. Okay, great, we can talk about that. Okay, we could talk about and criticize the times he's been nasty toward people. I got it. But does that mean he should be taken out overall? No, that's insane. That's insane. And those of you out there doing this are those who are casting the first stone. All of us, according to the Bible, have fallen short of the glory of God. Right? We've all sinned and fallen short. We are all, in other words, deserving of God's judgment. Let me make it clear. Reverend David Christopher McGuire deserves to be in hell right now. I deserve to be separated from God for all eternity, all right, under eternal conscious torment. That is what I deserve. Guess what? That's what you deserve. Guess what? That's what every person deserves on this earth. But Christ made a way. Okay? And for any person, hear me out. Okay? For a person to want another human being taken out with trumped up reasons is satanic. Okay, yeah, we're not talking about the Hitlers and the Stalins and the Maos and the ISIS leaders and Al Qaeda leaders and Taliban leaders and Hamas leaders and all of that should be rightly taken out to stop evil. Yes, but we're talking about American politicians. We're talking about Trump specifically, who has done nothing to deserve this. Okay, nothing. No policies he's made. Nothing. All right, this is evil. When we are seeing this play out, and it is satanic. So when you see things happen, friends, and from our physical point of view, it makes no sense. Then we must look deeper. It begs us to look deeper, to peel back the curtain, if you will, and really see what's going on behind the scenes. And it's satanic in nature. Okay, all of these people, right? And unfortunately, they're Democrats, so level vitriol that incites violence against people. There is a reason that Jesus makes issues like murder or adultery and other things a matter of the heart. Because before somebody goes to commit the crime of attempted assassination, before they even knew that, they've already been thinking on these things in their heart. They've already they've already given place to this rationale. They've already given place to this satanic hatred, and now their very thoughts are warped. Their very way of thinking is warped by this because they entertain it first. So uh, it is what it is. Okay, nobody just off the cuff decides I'm going to go shoot another person for no reason. I mean, is there times to do that? But yeah, we're talking about like self defense type stuff. Did you see this? How satanic it is, and why? Why would Satan target Trump? Why didn't Satan target Bush Senior or Bush Junior for that matter? Well, why weren't they targeted to such a manner? Right? Well, even Reagan wasn't targeted in to this degree. Why is that? So I'm just naming Republicans. Okay, never mind that. Not that anybody should be targeted, but it's the Democrats who have done worse for this country than anybody else. I mean, in my memory, I was born when Carter was president. Okay, Ronald Reagan became president. Okay, then I saw what Clinton, the foolishness and that Clinton did. Okay, then I was like I said, part of what Obama did. So what? Where's the accusations against them? The fair accusations for demolishing this country, for third worlding America. Anyway, I don't want to get off. That's not the topic today. Anyway, I hope I've done my best, okay, as well as I could, to lay out that the these assassination attempts, and I don't think they're the last one, by the way, on President Trump, is of a satanic nature. The hatred against him that makes no sense. Nobody. I mean, Bush Jr. did not receive the vitriol and attacks on him after he left office. How crazy is that? It's because of what Trump has done for Israel and the Jewish people. And I believe as well that it is an attempt to not get him back in the White House. Now, I'm not telling you who or who isn't going to be vote in the White House, but the very fact of the matter is that these are satanic attempts to prevent President Trump from being reelected, and it's just the way it is. So anyway, if you I've also written an article this weekend. I had it published this weekend. So if you didn't get it, then why aren't you subscribing to the Substack? I don't think I have. No, I don't. Anyway, go to Substack. Go to Restoring Your Voice. Subscribe. It's free. All right. I put nothing behind the paywall, and you'll get the articles that I write into your inbox. And I wrote a great one about how we as Christians need to handle humanitarian crises. And since that seems to be a hot topic and another point of accusation by the left and the liberals that, oh, we're not doing enough and we should just let them into our country, and go read the article. All right. If you're watching, wherever you're watching from right now, in fact, I did post it. So if you're watching on YouTube, go to the community tab. You'll see the article I wrote there. If you're on X, should be there for you. I may repost this a couple times, but anyways, thanks everybody for watching today and listening to my ramblings, if you will, on this Monday. But I just really, God really wanted me to hit on this topic, so please pray, and yeah, don't take part. Please don't be baited into hatred. Don't be baited into hatred of people. Don't do that, friends. All right, let's cling to the Lord like never before. All right, let's do that, and I promise you. Okay, we will be